The man convicted of murdering 4 University of Idaho students is asking a court to let him withdraw his guilty plea. Last July, Bryan Kohberger pleaded guilty to the stabbing deaths that took place in 2022. He's currently serving 4 consecutive life sentences for the murders. Kohberger filed a petition yesterday saying his attorneys manipulated him into making the plea deal.
But he told a judge last July that he was pleading guilty freely and voluntarily, and as part of that process, he had to agree to waive his right to appeal.
Joining us this morning, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes. Khalif, good morning. So this to us seems unusual. Maybe this isn't that unusual, right? A post-conviction relief. What is that? And how successful are those?
Well, a couple things. Is this unusual for someone to enter into a plea agreement when charged with a crime? Not at all. I mean, I'd say probably 80 to 90% of the cases will end in something that's not a trial. And so a plea arrangement between the defense attorney and the district attorney is common. Is it common for someone to, at some point after that plea, to second guess their decision? Absolutely. Oftentimes folks will, call, email and say, hey, I may have had a change of heart. But the other portion is now, how do you get to that resolution that you're attempting to get to now? You have to do a number of things. And he's alleging that the main portion is ineffective assistance of counsel. I mean, that's probably your only way you get there. But that's going to be a high burden to overcome. The courts have held that ineffective assistance of counsel, basically you have to prove, and this is me boiling it down to its lowest component, that your attorney showed up drunk, or that they, showed up and were sleeping 90% of the trial or during this plea negotiations. But if your attorneys were communicating, if they were actually participating, if they were providing for almost a year and a half, as in this case, adequate defense, I think the argument for ineffective assistance of counsel is going to fall on his head, but that would be the only way. I mean, if you could point to specific examples of them saying, not that you disagree with their strategy, but they just failed to do their job, that is ineffective assistance of counsel. And the only examples I can look at from law school is, okay, the attorney showed up and he blew a .24 or something. All right, that's an ineffective assistance of counsel because now this person is not even sober.
Okay.
That's probably a good example.
All right, so what do you foresee happening in this case here?
I see they look at the transcript. North Carolina, and I'm just going to make the comparable, has an actual official transcript of plea where they'll list a number of questions, about 20 of them. They're similar there. Iowa, I didn't find anything that had an official transcript of plea, but the questions are very similar. Has anyone promised to you? Has anyone made any threat outside of this agreement? Is there a promise of some other type of deal? In the key portion, do you recognize that entering this plea, you give up your right to appeal? I mean, that's at the bottom of our second page here in our North Carolina plea transcript, and the judge ask that question as well. Are you guilty? Are you in fact guilty? They may ask, are you guilty, about 7 times so that you can understand, all right, I'm recognizing that I am guilty. We do the same thing. The judge, I mean, this was a 175-page hearing that's how long the transcript was. I looked at the actual questions that the judge asked, very similar to what North Carolina judges would ask an individual during the plea for a homicide case here in our state.
Khalif, one of the things they ask is, is anybody forcing you against your will to do this? He said no, obviously, but one of the things that he has now in this petition is that he claims that his own team withheld exculpatory evidence and then pressured him into that false confession. Does exculpatory evidence, maybe, is that a leg that he can go on or not really?
I mean, he'd have to be able to point to what that exculpatory evidence is. And then the other portion of it is to your statement. The judge is going to ask you a number of times, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And has anyone else made any promises? So in his petition, a number of times he says there were promises of a better life on death row, that I'd be able to move freely and have all kind of, freedoms that I don't currently have while awaiting trial. That would be a promise. So when the judge specifically asks you, has anyone else made a promise to you outside of this agreement, that would have been the time to say, hey, well, they made these promises that I'd get X, Y, and Z when I got there, and I'm expecting that to happen. And the judge summarily would have shut that down because there's nothing outside of the plea. The judge even went on to say in this situation that I don't even have to accept this plea. I'm just letting you know that this is the plea that's in front of me. Mm-hmm. Do you understand that plea?
Khalif, quickly, a choose your own adventure here at the end, right? If he's successful, what does this look like going forward? If he's not successful, does it just go back to the way things were?
Well, a couple of things. Idaho gave him this plea deal as a condition of it that they wouldn't seek the death penalty. And so if he's successful, and if that's the way you want to describe it, in getting this conviction set aside, that's what it would be, setting aside his entry of a plea of guilt. Now it would just be placed back on the docket. There would be a new trial calendar, and I would suspect that the state of Idaho would say now we'll probably seek the death penalty because you're saying that this plea was entered unlawfully and not willful. Then we're not going to give you a second opportunity to do that.
All right, well, we'll have to keep an eye on it and see what happens. Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.